Welcome to another Quantum Conversation, brought to you by AcousticHealth.com. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery. And may I be the first to welcome you to this sacred space and this quantum conversation. It feels like we have literally been rebirthed. And so here we are in 2019. And I thank every one of you for joining us and joining my guest today, Lisa Transcendence Brown, on this 111 Gateway. And it is Lisa's incarnation day, and we just want to take a moment. Walk-in.
Well, no, actually the body was an incarnation. The walk-in was later.
Oh, the walk-in. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yay.
So for those of you who are not familiar with Lisa, I don't know who that is, but if you are not familiar with Lisa, she is an ascended master. She has gone through the ascension process, and she is fully committed and dedicated to helping us achieve the same. And so she's a beautiful way shower. And what we're going to talk about today is the conscious surrender of the ego. This is the next step in our embodiment and our ascension process. And it's not so easy, but my goodness, today we're certainly going to talk about it. So Lisa, welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. Thanks so much.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you guys. So yay, awesome. We got all kind of cool stuff to talk about. Today's a massive gateway. We're switching over. So it took those of us who are gatekeepers and grid keepers and frequency holders and stabilizers and all this stuff for New Earth, and then we have like all these different roles that we fulfill. And so everything is to align harmonically with Gaia and universal consciousness and collective consciousness and cosmic consciousness and all these different things, and in order to assist with not only the ascension of Earth, because there's different phases of the process, but it's an evolution of humanity out of, the word's archaic coming through, but the old archaic timelines, the 3D, and 3D is no longer considered the physical reality. Technically, it's 3D level of consciousness, so the physical reality is a vibrational match to that. And so now everything is vibrational matches. So 4D, 5D, your physical reality matches the dimension of consciousness that each person functions from it. This is a massive photonic DNA evolution. It's all about photonic activity, photonic light bodies, crystalline light bodies, all new grids and structures. And it's a complete transitional process that's done in phases, processes, and all this for each person when it's time for them. And everybody comes through in different phases, and there are infinite collectives. They're infinite. They're just a massive amount of how this is done. It's through the physical body and the light body and the crystalline light body and the photonic light body and all these different levels of light body phases that we go through as our body goes through a DNA evolution. And it's a return to full consciousness. And so on a human level, we're always trying to get somewhere, but this is a return. So you're not really trying to get anywhere. It's more opening up to remember everything so that you can actually reconstruct and reconfigure your whole life according to remembering yourself as a fully conscious being here, pure source consciousness. There's all these different levels, which human gets all caught up in the levels as a good or bad or a right or wrong, and starts playing all those games. This isn't about any of that. This is about each one of us returning to finding our own humanity, to becoming humanitarians, to really stepping up and fulfilling those higher, much higher, massively highest consciousness roles here that we all agree to fulfill on a soul level. Galactic, you get into all this other stuff too. So it's an immense process that everybody is going through now. It's just that some are aware, some aren't, not to the degree that everything is. And so, like, as an example, if something happens in our body, our human aspect, because we have different aspects, our human aspect will immediately go to what's wrong, trying to fix it, and trying to apply old belief systems and mentalities to what no longer applies. They don't understand their DNA, their cellular structures of their bodies are breaking completely down and being reconstructed, rebuilt. The whole inside of the body goes through an immense process of moving everybody from a linear existence to a non-linear, which ends up being quantum, in just a mind-blowing ways that we can't technically understand until we actually start experiencing it and living it and all. So anyway, sorry about that. You know me, I just kind of go off into all these different directions.
Well, it's beautiful because you really do live it yourself. And so we've got a lot of footage to cover, ground to cover here today, because we're talking about consciousness, and there's a new 12D template that you as a light keeper and other grid keepers fully activated on our planet. We're going to talk about that. But you mentioned full consciousness. And that's where we are going back to. This is a return to full consciousness. What is full consciousness to you? And would you consider yourself fully conscious, or are you still making adjustments and alignments to it?
There's different, I don't like using the word levels, but I have to describe a process. And so for a lot of you guys, when you listen to me, I'm explaining everything on a quantum level. It's not a linear level. So I bebop all over the place, which is how this works. We all are always coming in to a higher state of consciousness. Okay, full consciousness, though, it is being fully, we have different levels of consciousness, which is heart consciousness, where you're just coming to move out of your head, start to live from your heart, your higher heart consciousness. And then you move into higher mind consciousness, which is a whole different ball game. But the body has to go through the process for this to occur. You have the consciousness, and then you have the light body phase. So you have the physical body stuff that goes with it. It's about holding the state of consciousness so your DNA can restructure, so your body can do what it needs to do. Full consciousness is many things. It's being fully conscious of my own energy. It's being fully conscious of myself. It's being fully conscious of what I'm contributing. It's also being fully conscious of the entire physical reality. It's being fully conscious of everything that occurs. It's being fully conscious. There's conscious, then there is super conscious. And when you hit super conscious, you are conscious of everything, but it's through your expanded consciousness from beyond these, you are in all the other dimensions simultaneously, and you're seeing and doing everything all at the same time. And so it's an immense process of observing and learning everything all over again. Moving into pure source consciousness, you move into being the creator of all realities. You're fully responsible, and that has to do with this 12D template that just completed locking in. We call it locking in this morning, overnight. You're fully responsible for every breath that you take, for every word that you say, for every action you take. You're fully conscious, and everything has a purpose. You see all the reasons, all the purposes. You see everything that you affect. You take everyone and everything into consideration with every breath, every act, everything. So fully conscious is activating and holding those states of consciousness and returning and remembering yourself as all these different aspects, all your higher selves, all of your galactic aspects, all of your divine sacred aspects. And it means holding that level of consciousness in how you live your life, with every breath, with every person you connect with. It also means an immense amount of power and reclaiming everything and basically owning all of it. It's all yours. You're fully responsible for everything. And you actually take you understand your responsibilities here for humanity. You understand your responsibilities on a soul level, the agreements, the things you came here to fulfill. You see them, you understand them, and we get up each day, and this is what we do. We honor our agreements on a soul and a galactic level of what we came here to be and do. And so it's full service in every capacity. You see every dimension you affect. You see everything. You observe everything. Everything is energetic, though. And so we live from a quantum state of consciousness. We don't live in a linear reality at all. Everything is sacred geometrics. Everything is in grids and templates and constructs and quantum dynamics and algorithms and equations and everything is quantum. So
quantum,
everything.
Quantum. So just to give the definition of quantum, when it means to go quantum, we're outside of space. We're here right now. And when you're talking, it's really this immaculate or supreme awareness of ourself in all ways.
Ourself and everything. Mm-hmm. You hear, see, feel everything as it occurs. We function from the unified field of consciousness. Okay? We are the unified field of consciousness. We read data. We become quantum computers, supercomputers, actually. We process a ridiculous amount of light data, photonic light, which is quantum. And we read the field. We hear, see, feel everything as it occurs simultaneously. So you're processing data. Everything is a data stream. Everything that's going on is a light code. It's a completely different existence than any of us had any comprehension of before. None of us, I'm going to say this, but a lot of things I say to make a point. It's not the absolute truth, if that makes sense, because a lot of people will battle truth. We don't battle truth. Okay, that's just a part of the game. Understanding that through your highest state of consciousness, you have the capability to affect and create and any reality you desire. You are not limited by anything anymore. You don't have the conditioning. Now, does your ego come up? Yeah, but you see it and you deal with it.
Hopefully you see it.
Well, if you're conscious, you see it.
And if you don't see it, you'll be presented with lessons to make you see it, right?
Well, a lesson is just an experience to teach you. So you learn you come to understand. It's also, so we use the word lesson, but technically the human ego is using the word lesson as a punishment. I'm being punished. It's not a punishment. Okay. It's your, when we get into karma and karmic and even those things are just unconscious programs. They're what is housed in your body. They're all of your existences. They have nothing to do technically with this existence right here. This is the culmination. The physical existence is a vibrational response to what we hold in our body.
The physical existence is a vibrational response to what we hold in our body.
Conscious or unconscious. And we're always clearing unconscious programming. There is not one person on this planet that doesn't carry unconscious programming. It's in the grids, in the cell, it's in your cellular structure. The only thing is that the degree of unconscious, we process ridiculously fast. We don't have the emotions of, we don't have guilt. We don't have blame. We're not walking around pointing a finger at everybody else. We don't have, when I say higher or lower, I'm talking about frequency, bandwidths, and vibrations, and everything is energetic and stuff. But what you said a moment ago was if we're unconscious and we're going through an experience, all you're doing is working through your ego separation energy. That's all. Once you've got done with the energy and you've got it all out of your system, then your body will start, you're just clearing energy. It's all of your victim. It's all of your disempowerment. It's all of the narcissism. There's a ridiculous amount of narcissism, which is all root chakra stuff. And we've been watching a lot of it because that's all basically, it's complete 3D unconscious programming that everybody holds. All the blaming, I'm a victim, narcissism. all the manipulation of emotions, you know, getting into the story of I was wronged, narcissism. It's all narcissistic, you know. But the thing about it is each one of us came here with all of this programming and conditioning on a soul level and a galactic level. We did agree to all of this.
Yeah.
But it's remembering that. What?
So, you know, it's just, we make light of it, because when things come up and people, we can have experiences with people and it's like, oh, this is coming up for me. And we just laugh and say, I'm glad I could help you clear that. Or thank you for helping me clear that. It's beautiful.
But it's even going beyond that, because even with the tone that you just said, that was still ego.
I know.
Okay.
You know, that's the biggest thing. So let's talk a little bit more about ego.
But I
Because
want, yes, but let me say this. You actually have to go beyond that to pure gratitude. I mean, pure appreciation. You actually have to mean it with your whole being. So I want to say that, because we can say that all day long, but all we're doing is recreating it to experience again if we come from that place. If you come from your ego or separation or duality or blame, you are recreating it all over again. You're going to go through it again until you get done.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what about everyone else, but I'm certainly done with it. And Lisa, you and I were talking earlier, and it seems like the ultimate gateway, the last passageway or gateway, is this judgment, the last judgment.
That's for physical body ascension. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And judgment, you know, we've been watching like a ridiculous amount of judgment, and lately it's been everybody doing it publicly. They're like trying to out each other, and everybody's persecuting everybody.
It's not very mature, is it?
It's called defaming, and everybody's pointing the finger publicly, trying to get everybody to agree and validate them as a victim in the story. And you know, it's like wide open, full on out there with everybody losing it. Because the moment you're a victim, you're not taking responsibility. There's no self-accountability. And so judgment keeps us from being responsible. Judgment is the separation. Your ego is your separation from yourself as pure source light.
So the conscious surrender of the ego is the topic of the hour, the topic of the time. Okay. Because if we don't consciously surrender, we're going to keep getting 2x4s upside the head, so to speak.
Oh, and they get bigger. They turn into 12x12s. They turn into Mack trucks.
Mack trucks.
Like,
no, I don't want that.
No, I used to wake up and go, oh God, no more. All right. So here's the thing. Conscious surrender. So one of the biggest things that we've been observing with a lot of people is that they don't actually comprehend the words they're saying. Everybody's running around saying the words, but they're all in their head about the whole thing. There's actually no comprehension. I've been stopping people and saying, what does this mean? And they look at me and they have no clue, none. And I'm realizing if you cannot explain it with your whole being, your whole body, without being in your head, you have no clue.
It's really about being in the heart. We'll talk more about that too, but continue, please.
Okay. So this is a whole body experience. So when you say it's about being in the heart, you have to be in your heart with your whole body. You can't. So here's the thing, you know, there's a lot of people, all this work we've been doing all these years, all of us, okay? I just realized not too long ago, everything that we've been doing was just to get to collectives to a point where the heart just is open. I had no clue, because my reality is very different than the typical collective reality, because I don't live in those realities with the collectives going through all the hate and all that hurt and all that stuff. I live in treat people with kindness, everybody shares. We live in a very much a completely different reality where everything we do is for humanity. So our physical reality, returns that to us, except when we're going through a massive clearing and we got something still left inside, and then we're going to go through it too, which we just did. It wasn't pretty, but we did it. But this is about understanding this is this is a multidimensional experience. It's not, oh, well, my heart's open, but I'm still in my head and I'm judging you. Well, if you're judging somebody, your heart's not open, period. And, we've been seeing like all the, I had somebody the other day and I was watching we observe. This is how you learn about energy and how things work. Is you're observing everything, but you're not passing judgment. You don't care. This is how you learn. I take all of that observation and I turn it into a course and I teach people. Your experiences become the things you teach. Your experiences become what you share as the example, because when you share your experience and the things you understand, it's not judgment. And so multidimensionality, everybody now lives on a multidimensional earth. Most people have no clue that they walk around in multiple dimensions, all going on around them. And now I get to play with people's heads. Let's say, for example, you're in the third dimensional level of consciousness with your body, because it's the body's density that binds you to that dimension. Okay? Mm-hmm. You can't see the people walk around in 12D. You don't even get to activate. What's the word? Hold on. Blah, 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 blah. You don't even get to interact with them.
Are these physical beings walking in the 12D, or they're higher dimensional beings that are here? Oh, you are.
This is the
yes.
People are going, oh, yeah, we have this on Earth and this is, and they're coming and we're here, people. This is us, all of us. This is what's going on in your DNA. Mm-hmm. Your Pleiadian, your Syrian, your angel, your God consciousness. This is what's going on in everybody's DNA. Your Christed consciousness. You will walk around as a Christed being. That's the crystalline grid of New Earth. You have to link up with it with your whole body, though, and you actually have to exit the 3D matrix in order to exist on higher dimensional Earth. A lot of people have 1 foot in each world for a long time. When you're in the 4th dimension, you got 1 foot in each world. When you finally rebirth yourself, and you are rebirthing yourself, you go through an ego death. And it's hell. The ego is hell, literally. When you experience a reality and it's hell or a nightmare, that's your egoic unconscious reality. You actually have to open your heart fully and get out of your head about the whole thing in order to move out of that actual dimensional experience. And in order to stay there and remain there, your body has to clear the programming. It's all in the body. Your body has to go through the evolution, and your body has to hold the consciousness. That's what's going on for a lot of people on Earth right now, where their body are in a rapid and massive purging. Body breaking out everywhere, people vomiting and diarrhea and I don't know, I can't even get into
cold on the skin.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when you heat up, that's your consciousness, that's your soul. Literally, that's your light body activating. When your heart starts racing, when everything starts moving really fast, when your breathing gets affected, all of this is a part of your light body activating. When you have extreme fear, panic attack, that's your light body. But people don't understand because they want to attribute it to something else, because this reality, multidimensionality, doesn't fit into their linear boxes yet. Now, the reason I say this is because I went through it. I did the same thing. I fought, I resisted, I rejected until I got drugged through it upside down and inside out. And then eventually you're like, okay, I'm done fighting. I'm done suffering. I'm done with my realities collapsing. Because when you move from a linear existence, you move into a nonlinear existence where there's no time. And what happens is when you move into a quantum existence, all times converge into this space right here. Everything's like instant and fast. It's being thrown at you left and right. And so you actually have to learn how to timeline jump. You have to learn how to do all these things with ease. And it's through the integration of light in your physical body. You have to hold that light consciousness in order to understand. Your DNA is beyond intelligence. It's quantum intelligence. Mm-hmm. And so you are in this very interactive experience with it's living, breathing DNA. When you breathe consciousness, you breathe life into realities. Everything is alive. Space isn't empty. Silence isn't quiet. You hear the entire cosmos and the universe, and people are like, oh, I have all these frequencies in my head, and they're trying to shut it up, and they don't understand That's everything. That's what you're going to hear 24 hours a day. That's what I've been listening to for eons. And I write. That's light intelligence. That's gamma frequencies. That's cosmic rays. That's, I can get into all of the different frequencies and stuff that I listen to 24 hours a day. Part of the reason why I talk so loud is I'm yelling over the whole cosmos inside, because everything's inside of you. It's bizarre. And when it starts happening to each person, it activates their fear because they can't control it.
Uh-huh.
And you don't get to control this process. So let's go back to, see, we always work ourselves around and come back. It's a nonlinear geometric equation. I'm like going and getting all the pieces and parts and throwing them into it and boom, boom, boom. But this is how we cover so much. Mm-hmm. Conscious surrender means that you're surrendering your ego to your higher self. Conscious surrender means you're going to stop fighting, that you're done suffering. Conscious surrender is with your whole body, though. It means basically throwing your body down. This is what I literally used to do, because the more masculine energy we have, the stronger everything is. And so extremes are a huge part of this process as well. But I would throw my body down on the bed and just say, I give up. And I had to wait until my mind relaxed and stopped thinking. I had to wait until the muscles in my body finally let go. I had to wait until my heart completely opened and my whole body had surrendered. Otherwise, part of me was still trying to hold on. So when I say conscious surrender, I mean with every part of you. The muscles in your body are actually the grid work for the earth that you exist on, which version of a multidimensional experience that you have. Our bodies, so like my body is in constant relaxed state. My muscles don't tighten down. My heart doesn't close anymore. My human brain doesn't take over anymore. I function from, and this is just explaining the process, I function from a quantum state of consciousness 24 hours a day. This is where we live. And so it's a very different existence. It's access to all information. It's access to everything all over again. It returns as we evolve, and it's through purity. It's through a purification process. It's through a purification of your body, immense detoxing. It's a restoration of your original body template. It's a clearing of a ridiculous amount of distortions. And so conscious surrender means that you actually are choosing to stop fighting. You are actually choosing to let go of the resistance inside. You're choosing to let go of the stories that you've got going on. You're choosing to stop letting your ego run the show.
Yeah.
And you basically surrender to your higher self, your soul, and you let it take over your body, literally.
Okay, well, that's it. So we're surrendering to our higher self. And what I've learned, I help people with regressions where they connect with their higher self. And
Yay.
When people connect to the higher self, you'd be amazed. Well, no, not you, Lisa.
Well, but you know what? We still have, go ahead.
Well, people are like, I have been talking to my higher self the whole time, or my higher self has been talking to me the entire time. So we know, I'm getting chills just talking about it because it is the truth. It's not so easy to do that though. And the mind just does come back in. And I know so many of us are just ready to really take that leap of faith and surrender, and that's really the journey. It's a big, big journey and we're almost there.
Well, you know me, I'm going to break that whole thing. You know me, I break that program. Break it. Lorraine and I have this thing. I do this with everybody. I'm a telesummit host, every person I interact with. Part of this is breaking the programming. We're breaking
of the masses. Yes.
And each one of us, when we're fully conscious, we're breaking our own. Constantly break that programming. Nope. And you have the ability to reprogram it and activate a different program. It gets really cool. You're the engineer, you're the director, you're all these things. But When you said, so now I'm going to stop you for a second. I can't talk today. We're going through such a rewiring process right now. We had a whole new template lay in about 2 hours before we came in here, a new Unity grid, which is really cool because it replaces the old one. So
we're going to talk about that. Yes.
It's being embedded into the template of our bodies and the earth and all this stuff right now. And it's basically the old one's obsolete. So all the old algorithms, all the old parameters, they all kind of go out the window, and this is replacing everything. So my body is like going through this whole template rebuild while we're sitting here talking.
That's the problem.
So,
Okay.
but let me say, you just said to me,
Yes.
so now let's play. The people that I work with and the groups and the communities, we love this stuff. We break stuff all day long. You know, like yesterday I went in, my people, you want to go in for an hour? And they all jumped in with me. 7.5 hours later, we're like breaking program.
1 hour with Lisa? No.
We try. My intentions are always good to stay at 1 hour, but we can't do it. And the next thing you know, I thought, oh, we'll get 1 or 2, 3 people. And we're in there, and 7.5 hours later, and we're breaking through the programming, because everybody has come to understand that gets this, that programming is what you're suffering. That program is your limits. That program is what keeps you bound to that reality. And those who are consciously doing this are tired of living in this programmed realities, but it's not out there. The matrix system that everybody keeps fighting is inside of your body. You have to go inside and break the matrix down yourself. And everything, every word has an entire geometric structure, matrix system to it. Everything is a geometric and a matrix system. The only difference is old Earth is an unconscious matrix system. New Earth is a crystalline, which is Christed, loving, unity consciousness. And then you get into a plasma grid that isn't even really a grid. It's an entire photonic networking system. And we all link up to each other through all of this. It's beautiful. But so now let me go back and play with you for a moment. When you said,
what word did I do?
The whole sentence. We got to break the whole thing down. Okay. So you said it's really hard.
Oh, see,
really? Why would you tell yourself that? I know that.
I'm judging it, wasn't I? I was judging it.
No, you immediately put up the resistance through the sentence. When you said it's really hard, you shut the door.
Oh my goodness. Well, thanks for helping me clear that.
Don't say that, or it will be really
that's
hard.
Judgment too, right? So wow, it's like you said, it's a total whole rewiring.
It's only as hard as you make it on yourself.
Yes, it's this immaculate awareness.
And so change your word. You're creating a new program. It's not hard. You just have to be conscious.
A new program. Okay, I'm going to just delete that from my.
Yeah. Wipe the whole thing out. No, but here's the thing.
Not hard. It's bliss.
It's and that actually is an ego comment. The ego is saying it's hard.
The ego is saying it's hard.
We had no idea how deeply embedded all of this was in our body. It's in your bones, it's in your muscles, it's in your teeth, it's in your blood, it's in your oxygen, it's in every gland and organ. Every part of your body has to go through an immense breakdown process and be rebuilt through all new codes. And so a lot of people right now that have been doing a lot of the work for years, there are entire collectives that are just now hit that place of go, oh, and they finally got there with their body, and they've been working really hard, and it's like, oh, the feeling of home and that pure peace, that pure everything. And we can talk about the 12D template, but there are a lot of people who are just now getting to a 5D template with their body. Okay, so as soon as I started talking about 12D template, a lot of people, 12D template, and they have no clue. And I looked at somebody one day, I said, what's a 12D template? And they looked at me and just went, they don't know. They just start running around saying the words. Okay, so it's really important. Don't just grab the words and start running around with them. That won't do you any good. That's your ego. You actually have to comprehend. You actually have to sit with every word and figure it out. You have to figure everything. You have to relearn everything all over. This is a complete re-education through quantum states of consciousness, which replaces everything you thought you once knew. And our ego doesn't like that part. There's zero control. It's different. It's you on a human level learning to trust your own universe and higher self. You're the one that doesn't trust.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one that has to establish that connection. It's not your universe that can't be trusted. It's your ego, you.
Yeah.
It's your ego that keeps coming back in. So it means being really present and staying connected. Once you make that connection, whether you do it through meditation, I never meditated, I just fell asleep, because the stronger the ego, the more sleep you have to go through to wake up. We actually sleep ourselves awake.
Yeah.
For years and years and years and years. It's not an overnight thing. All your memories go. People are like, oh, I can't remember. You're not supposed to. New memories are going to come through, and they're going to be of your ancient existences, your galactic existences, your Lemurian, your Atlantean, but then you're going to start remembering things that aren't awesome. It's going to bring up heavy duty grief and hurt and pain and sadness. And as you clear that, then all the joy and the brilliance and the magic and everything comes through. That's what everybody's returning to. That's what you're fighting.
Oh my gosh, why do we fight that? Because once we get there, you're a great testimonial of this. Once we get there, it opens up to a whole new world. So
It's a whole new, this is what we came here for. This is what everybody wants. And this is what everybody fights. Magic, unity, love, peace,
yeah.
full of infinite abundance. There is zero lack in any capacity here. But it means each person finding that place inside of them where they come from that deep, sacred connection, that deep, sacred love, that deep, sacred, there's a level of respect that we function from that the human doesn't have the capability of yet. Now, when I say capable, it's technically not true. Everybody's capable. But if your heart is closed, you're not.
Let's talk a little bit deeper about that, Lisa, because we do talk about our hearts open, and there's, light workers joining us are here. We would think, yay, our hearts are open, our hearts are open. Yet the judgment, any judgment means our
Then your heart's not open, you're in your head.
That's really the judgment, right?
Yeah. If you're a victim, if you're blaming, if you're not taking complete responsibility for yourself on an energetic level, this is different. Okay. This has nothing to do with the old systems, what everybody said you had to do. This is completely different from that. This is an internal integrity. This is a respect and an honor and a love and a union within each one of us that we actually go through within ourselves in order to return to a consciousness that's connected with everybody and everything as one. But it's also you seeing what is not that yet, because then that's your responsibility to bring it into alignment, to bring it into consciousness. Or if, so I know you're about to say something, but let me finish this. It's really important. Each one of us, we all said this, we all did this. There are a ton of people running around. They're not conscious. They're not conscious. They're not conscious. Well, they're a reflection of you.
Yes.
But they're an aspect of you. Yeah. If they're not conscious, then what are you doing?
Pointing out that they're not conscious.
Right. Judging.
But I'm also judging them.
The thing about it is, if you're the conscious one, and I realized the other day when I say consciousness, people don't even understand what that means. If you're the conscious one, you're the ones whose heart is wide open. You're the one that cares. You're the one that has the ability to be kind and respectful and to assist that person with what love consciousness and unity consciousness is. You have to be it, though. It's not words you run around and say. If you are the conscious one, your energy is going to emanate from you. And you have the ability to bring that entire situation into consciousness. If the other person, now I'm going to make a point here, if their heart is able to open. Now, those who are technically, I'm making points here when I say these things, it's not a judgment. Let's say somebody is unconscious. Then you have the ability to show them what love and respect and kindness and non-judgment is. If every attempt, if you're being kind and respectful and you're sharing from this beautiful place inside of you, and they keep shutting you down and shutting the door and saying, I don't want to hear it. A lot of people view consciousness as a threat. And they will actually put bigger walls up to protect themselves, because when you're unconscious, you don't know you're unconscious, and you don't know you've gone into a protection mode against that. And what you're protecting yourself against is being vulnerable. And we don't like feeling vulnerable, like we have no protection. Okay, and so all the people in protection mode, all the people viewing something as a threat, all the people in survival mode, all of that is unconsciousness. You don't protect yourself against pure love. It's not a threat, but it is a threat to your current reality in your head. And that's what's been going on. We've been, through years, we perceive consciousness as a threat because our life is going to change. You actually have to give up control on a human ego level. You don't get to control this anymore. Your whole life is going to change. You have to bring your whole reality into alignment on a soul level, which is what's going on anyway for everybody. You kind of don't get a choice in the whole thing anymore. Your soul determined this before you ever walked in or incarnated. You're galactic. It's a galactic soul. It's an oversoul. It's all these different words we use. Okay. But technically your human thinks it has control. Mm-hmm. When in essence, you never had any at all. Every moment of your entire journey here was predetermined on a soul level. Everything that has occurred on a soul level as your predetermined experience here. Through full consciousness, you now get to look at the reality and go, oh, but this is the experience I really desire to have. This brings joy. This brings kindness. And you get to choose a higher consciousness reality instead of the old soul contracts, which were not fun. Okay. Now everything has moved. For the more conscious you become, the more it's a soul agreement, and you get to choose to fulfill that agreement or not. It's beautiful. You can actually see the whole thing and go, no, I don't want that experience. And you can just shut the whole thing right back down and go on to the next thing. We don't have to have experiences anymore if we don't want to, but you have to be conscious to have a choice. If you're unconscious, you don't get a choice. You're going to have the experience that you get. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And yeah. All right. Don't want to keep having those unconscious experiences. So Lisa, you've talked a lot about aligning the physical body with these choices, with the soul on a soul level. Can you talk a little bit more about what that really means? You did mention it a little bit. I mean, it's this pure love. It's making these choices, right? Being very, again, that word, immaculate awareness. So aligning your body to the 5D.
It means surrendering your body so that the light of your soul can take over, your higher self can take over. It means surrendering your body so your photonic DNA can do what it needs to do. You have higher consciousness DNA in your body. It's light intelligence. And so basically it's listening to your body. What does your body tell you right now? Well, my body says it's tired and it needs to lay down and go to sleep. And your human is going, oh no, I can't. I have to do this and this and this and this. And I got to do this and this and this. And you override your body. Your body says, my nervous system is shot. Your body says, I need raw live foods. And you're going, oh no, you don't. The typical human, the other day I was having a conversation with somebody and I said, they don't understand their energy body. And, I don't comprehend how well a lot of people understand and don't, because I live in my own reality that's multidimensional and this is all normal to us. Okay. But somebody looked at me and said, nobody understands the energy body, Lisa. And I just twisted my head and I'm like, oh my God, nobody technically understands their soul body. You actually have to become your soul to understand your soul body, your energy body, your light body, the crystals. You have crystals. You have a template. You have grids. You have all of these things in your body that have to go through an immense evolutionary process. So it's basically honoring and respecting your body. Get your body really clean. Your body becomes a vibrationally tuned instrument. It becomes your sacred vessel. It's something that you deeply respect. You communicate with your body. Body, what do you want right now? You listen to your body. You actually have to have communication. You have to treat your body with love. Most people, I can say these things because I went through every one of them. So when I say most people, I'm not talking about people. It's not a judgment thing. It's I remember doing it, okay? The really human says, oh, my body needs to be this weight. I can't have this amount of fat on my body. It's got to be this. It's got to look like this. And it gets all caught up in controlling the body and how the body needs to look. It's affixed to, well, this food is the right and this food is wrong. And that when none of that is true, your body is going to tell you, I need this, 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 I need this. And you're going to actually do weird and bizarre things. Each light body phase needs a different food. The initial light body phase, which is a gamma light body that kicks in, which actually brings your vibrational frequency to a gamma frequency. Okay. That's like a bazillion jolts of electricity running through your body, and you were laying here feeling like you're about to leave the planet. It's intense. And gamma frequencies actually run through your body and light everything up. And then what will happen, and it will occur through our whole existence here. So I didn't understand. I had been going through this my whole life, but I attribute it to everything else. So did everybody else. The parents you choose, they didn't understand. They were trying to fix you too. You're broken. You're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. There's nothing wrong with you. Your body is tuning. Your body is trying to activate a crystalline structure. Your body, when your crystalline activates, it breaks out all over under the skin. You have crystals that actually pop out of your skin. I have pictures that I've taken for years and put them up, and you can see all the rainbow frequencies and the gold. And I saw one the other day from back in, like, I don't know, 2000 something. And it was a picture of all the different diamonds and stuff under my skin and the grids running through my body. You can actually, I could take pictures of it for years through my skin. You can see, you can hold your hand up in the sun and you can move your hand and you can see it sparkle. It's kind of cool. And when I started doing book signings and stuff years ago, I was like, hold your hand up. And people were like, oh my God, I had no clue. And you can breathe, and the little crystals under your skin will actually light up and glow. It is so cool. This doesn't fit into the typical human's reality. They're going, oh no, that's not possible. And then all the judgment starts and all this, you know, and so you really have to basically go beyond every belief system you once had. Multidimensional existence, all those galactic beings that you think are off on another planet, they're all walking around on this planet right here. It's all of us. But humans walking around, they look at the body and they think you're a human just like them. Okay?
That's not no zit on your face.
the thing about it is we're you know, this is crystalline, crystal consciousness. Yeah. This is the Atlanteans and the Lemurians return. So if I look at you, Loren, and say, do you remember Lemuria?
Absolutely.
Then so you're going to sit here and tell me I'm not a Lemurian from Lemuria in my body?
Good point.
We actually have to start to comprehend this. When you start having recall of Atlantis, you're an Atlantean. You are Atlantean in your body. We you know, and all this, you have to let go of the stories of who did what to who, though.
Yeah, the stories is
the
still
stories gotta go. And the crystals and the gamma frequencies and all this stuff, it's all about running through your body and clearing distortions. It's all a tuning process. And so all those distortions are being triggered and activated to clear your body, and they play out in your external reality. So when something outside isn't aligned on a heart consciousness level, on a unity consciousness level, that's your reality to bring into unity consciousness. That's your reality to align. You know, how many people email me or say, Lisa, so-and-so in my reality, what do I do? I'm like, well, what do you do? That's your reality. That's not my reality. I'm making a point here, so I have to talk this way, okay? What are you going to do in your reality when somebody needs assistance? You know, somebody in my group posted, what do you do when you walk past a homeless person? Well, what do you do? Why don't you be kind? Why don't you sit? Why don't you buy them something? Why don't you take them to lunch? I used to go and sit with them all day long and buy them food and drive them to the hospital. I stop and I help every broke down car. I leave money at the local establishments. I buy stuff for everybody all over this island. You have to contribute. You have to care. You have to show up. You're the change. You're the difference. If you are not living it in your life, you're getting the same old reality. That's how this works. Embodiment means you are being it. You live it with every breath. This is how you live your life. Your life has to change, though. You're the one that has to be kind. That's your vibrational match. When you are kind to every person, guess what you're going to meet? Kindness.
It's the judgment that gets in the way. I cannot say that enough, and I see it so clearly. So,
but really claim it as it's my ego.
Yes. So
okay.
We can consciously surrender the ego.
But now let's play with this, because everybody hates this part.
Okay.
When I'm judging somebody else, I'm a narcissist.
We walk down the street and we judge a person across, just that we pass by when we decide to smile.
Look at you. You just completely jumped that whole thing. Stop. I know. you were not going there. I just said everybody hates this part. Hold on. Stop. Go back.
No, don't go there.
Because I want you to see how it feels when you own judgment.
Right. I'm trying to explain it, and that's my ego.
I want you to explain it. I want you to feel how horrible
judgment is. I get that. Judgment is I can feel the constriction in my chest. And
that's your duality.
That's my duality.
Your separation. That's your hate. That's
my
your
resistance.
Hurt. That's your resistance to being a sovereign being.
Because the ego would make it seem like that's what makes us sovereign.
No. Mm-hmm. You can't be a victim and be sovereign at the same time.
Right.
You got to choose. If you're going to be a sovereign being, you technically are going to take responsibility for everything, all of it. It's all yours. You own it. That's this 12D template. It's a redistribution template of a whole lot of, everything's being redone. Everything. Everybody's lives, your money, your life, your job, your relationships, everything's about to be redone on a whole new level. This affects everything in every capacity. How you support yourself, it's going to change. Everything. What you consider health isn't health. Okay? Everything. Your body is going to start rejecting, not you, Lorraine, I'm just saying as a point, the typical human population. When we move from a linear to a quantum existence, everything gets turned upside down and goes sideways and goes ballistic and appears to be collapsing, because a collapse is a unification in a very different way. And so the old realities, the constructs that held those realities in place, they're gone. Now they're collapsing inside of each person. So every person hanging on to the old, what they're trying to hang on to is inside of them is collapsing. Inside, that's where that matrix program was. What your whole reality is collapsing, and you look out there and you panic. And if that's the reality you see, we don't have those realities. We don't see those realities. They don't even exist. They do exist. We are aware of them, but we also live in all the realities that have already occurred, that are of a much higher existence, until that physical reality is aligned for each person, because each one of us is a part of this grid working system. And so I'm going to say this to make a point. Those of us who have been doing this for years, we've been waiting for this time when everybody else's world turns upside down so they can come online. You go off grid from the old system and you come on grid with a new one. It's a completely different system, and it's done with your body, your whole being, your whole life. It's a massive process that is a quantum one. It isn't linear in any capacity. So if you're sitting around trying to match up a cause or a reason, then you're missing the whole point. Because the explanations aren't linear, they're vibrational. The explanations are not. When somebody says one word to me, that whole word has a whole matrix system. That whole word has a whole story, that whole word, and we have to break the whole thing down. That's the entire matrix system of just that one word. Imagine a whole reality. When you are fully conscious and tuned in through your heart, you can actually feel, well, that's not aligned. That's not love. That's not kind. That's not respectful. You actually have to choose to live from that place, though. If you're not choosing to live from that place, then your world will go sideways to force you to that place, which is how it works. Now, nothing's happening to you. It's actually your higher self, your universal aspect, you, doing all of this. Because it's your ego that's refusing to listen. And so all of this is for breaking those programs, breaking the ego programs, breaking through. Now, the beauty of 2019, and I don't do linear, but I'm going to do it to make a point, is that what it means for everybody. And I haven't done the 2019 energy report just because of all the gatekeeper stuff that we've been doing has to be a priority and all, for we have to complete that first. But when I write a cosmic energy, multidimensional energy report, I have to take every dimension into account. So the whole thing is like the whole vast picture, and it takes a lot to put it together for everybody, because everything's affected and a part of the whole picture. This is the year that more people step into their own sovereignty. This is a year of many things. It's a lot of people remembering what they forgot. It's a lot of people returning to a higher state of consciousness that they disconnected from. It was a state of amnesia. We were all in a coma, if you will. We were all deep asleep, literally. Okay? Because your body was actually located in a frequency bandwidth that kept you asleep. So when we talk about the body, you have to actually get your body out of the third dimension, which means that you have to honor your body and the vibration and the energy of your body. You get out in nature. Look at you, Loren. How much do you love to go get out in nature?
I try to do it every day.
Because look at the vibration and the energy you're in. It's peaceful, it's calm, it's an aligned vibrational reality. It supports your body. The moment you take your body and try to put it back in an unconscious reality, how does it feel?
I don't fit in those shoes anymore.
But this is where you have to choose. And this is the part of mastery.
Yes.
Is you actually start mastering the physical reality through your higher state of consciousness. You actually look at the physical reality and you align it yourself. This isn't on anybody else. It's all on you.
See, I want to repeat that because that's key. You look at the physical reality and you realign it yourself. That's
through
through
unity, love, heart, higher consciousness, not a human ego aligned reality. Otherwise, that one will collapse.
You know, this relates to everything, and we're already starting to feel, I'm feeling that this year. We're already, today's the 11th of the new year.
Oh yeah, 111 gateway.
Yay, it's a gateway. And I've already been feeling the changes. So that's why it's important, this conscious surrender of the ego. And just
here's the thing is, a lot of people don't like the ego work. And actually, when you come through to Christ consciousness and you go through ascension of consciousness, you actually can't even see the ego anymore for a while. For a while, the third and the fourth dimension will actually drop away, and it won't even exist for a lot of people for a while. It'll come back in later, but you have to maintain that ascended state of consciousness. And so your body can then complete an entire template build. Your Merkaba, your light body and your Merkaba, so that you can actually go through physical body ascension, which takes like an additional 1.5 years. I've timed it by watching for years, and it's not an overnight process. It's an actual DNA restructuring on a cellular level, so it takes time. And so the third and the fourth dimension will actually disappear. One thing I realized recently that's really important, and I forget all these little points that I have to mention, but when you get to the fifth dimension, the third and the fourth fall away, and they don't exist anymore for a while. You don't see them, you don't experience them. Everything's bliss and magical. You're this innocent child. You're playing and wonder and wide-eyed and all this stuff. But then what will happen is that's just the beginning. Then you start moving into much higher purposes and responsibility roles. And it means going to work on a soul level and building and uniting through as the grid work for New Earth. So each one of us become the networking system, and we build and create the new reality. So every person will move into creation role. Create. You're creating the foundation for your new realities completely from scratch, all over again, through all new parameters, all new light codes. Once you start doing this, then you start moving up in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th dimension. And once you hit the 12th dimension, technically everything we're going through right now is collectively. When I went through mine, and nobody cares, it's not an ego thing, it's describing a process, is once you hit the 144 template for oversoul and avatar consciousness, and returning to the original template and purity templates and all this kind of stuff, it's all a part of the process too. And so soul consciousness for the 5th dimension, 12th dimension is over soul. It's the beginning of the 144 template. So there, it's kind of like a stair-stepping process, as you lay and build the foundation for your new earth reality, and you're birthing it through your body, literally. Your belly blows up. You feel like you're in labor. You have pregnancy cravings, men and women alike. It's not a female-male thing. It's feminine, masculine energy. It's the divine child energy. It's alchemy. It's all these other things that we say. But the reason I'm going to say this is because it helps with an understanding, is that, you know, observing a lot of the people just now coming through to the 5th dimension to remember, well, the 12th dimensional template, the 5th dimensional light beings can't see the 12th dimension or understand how it functions. But from the 12th, when we first got to the 5th dimension, we could see the 3rd and the 4th and the 5th. You could see all three, but it's through the inside. You have to go inside to access all the dimensions. From inside, you get access and you can see. The deeper you go, the more expanded you become. The depth on a soul level, you have to actually get to your soul. A lot of people run around, my soul's tired. Your soul's not tired, your human is. Your soul is pure. Your soul never sleeps. I don't sleep like the typical person. I can go and go and go and go and work in 15 and 20 hours, and I lay down and you know, last night we did a massive photonic clearing of the grids, which is what completed the process and stuff. But, you know, I had operated on 3 hours sleep yesterday. I did 8 hours with my group, and then I passed out finally about 12:30, 1 o'clock this morning. I was back up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock going and go. You don't sleep. And then I work in my sleep state too. I'm teaching DNA, photonic DNA in my sleep all night long. We don't, because every reality, you're working in every dimension. And so what I do in the sleep state is another dimension. And that actually activates all these realities that appear in my waking state. They're very cool. Mm-hmm. You can actually utilize all these different states of consciousness and affect every dimension if you're fully conscious and that connected on a consciousness level. You actually, the sleep and the wake state, they merge and they flip. You're walking around in a lucid dream. Everything's kind of bizarre and kind of weird and mushy and gooey. And it's like, oh, it's surreal. It's like, oh, I don't feel like myself. You're not supposed to. You're becoming somebody else. and so this is a very weird and bizarre experience for a while. It turns into like a really lucid dreamy acid trip. when your brain starts releasing DMT and your pineal gland starts opening up for you to see all the other dimensions and things are flickering and floating around and you're like going, oh my God, did you see that? And everybody else is going, no. So in order to achieve this, you really have to let completely go, surrender everything and trust. Because your body, your soul, your light intelligence, it knows what to do. It's your human ego that keeps getting in the way. And it means you consciously saying, I'm going to surrender my ego and I'm going to trust. I'm going to let my body do what it needs to do. I'm going to go lay down and sleep for 3 days. I'm going to clear my calendar. People are going, how am I supposed to pay the bills? Your universe is going to take care of all of that. You have to become the universe to understand. It's divine flow. It's our realities become very simple. And everything's about divine flow, divine alignment. Everything's about divine and quantum production and accomplishing. Every day is spent accomplishing all the things we came here to do. And it's full service work on every level, in every capacity, but doesn't fit into the realms of comprehension by other people. They're judging it all. So like my community yesterday and stuff, we were talking, they're like, so we're sleeping. We can't do anything. I'm like, go to sleep. Sleep, sleep. You're anchoring light. You're waking up. You're actually in service to humanity while you're sleeping. It's a part of your service here. And they're like, oh, good. That's all we wanted to hear. Back to bed we go. And, you know, years ago when I had to be okay with looking like the crazy lady for a long time. And I had judgment. I had issues. I'm like, I don't want to look like the crazy lady. My universe is like, you don't get a choice. This is what you came here to do. It's important for humanity. Step up.
Yes.
Step up. Step forth. Fulfill your roles. Do what you came here to do. Your ego doesn't get a say-so anymore. Your higher self will actually be very clear if you don't listen. And if you still don't listen, I'm going to use this to make a point. It will use your physical reality to get your attention. Because you don't want to hear. If you don't want to hear and see, then when your physical reality starts going sideways, that gets your attention. When your physical body starts going sideways, that gets your attention. But if you're still fighting the process, you're the one that's going to go through all the suffering. It means stop fighting. Stop fighting. Open your heart completely. This means wide open, no protection mechanisms, wide open. When your heart is wide open, your head no longer has control.
Okay.
And close your eyes. Close your eyes to get out. You have to bypass your linear mind to connect inside. Close your eyes and sit. And remember when you and I started doing this and everybody looked at me like, I don't want to close my eyes. I'm going to close your eyes. And, you know, I've spent all my years, every person I talk to, the first thing I do is say, close your eyes.
Yeah.
Close your eyes. I sat for 2 years with my eyes closed, listening through frequencies and tones and hearing and seeing. And my pineal gland, I could see the inside of your head comes on and a light comes on and you can actually see from the inside. I used to close my eyes to see.
And plug your ears.
And plug my ears. I wore earplugs for 2 years.
Yes.
Those light codes, those light frequencies that you hear tune your light body. You want them as loud as they can be. It's intense. Let me tell you, when you know, I walk around, so I'm going to say me and you, you and I are walking around, I'm listening to a barrage of umpteen thousand frequencies going inside of my body. If I look at you and go, Loren, I got to go lay down, you're looking at me because I just look like a typical human. You have no idea that all those frequencies and tones kicked in, they just shut my body down. Okay. So each person doesn't understand how this works. Those frequencies and tones, they tune your light body. They activate the crystals in your crystalline structure. They decode and recode. You are crystals. You are a quantum computer. Literally, we become this computer system, we process light data and light codes and algorithms and quantum physics and everything and biomechanics and quantum mechanics. On a soul level, this is your language. This is how you see. It's not something you study and learn. It's something you remember. It comes forth when I started seeing in DNA and molecular. I was drawing it, but I didn't understand what it was. I was drawing out chemical codes and molecules. And I'm like, what's this weird thing? It looks like a honeycomb. And later I picked it up and I realized I've been drawing DNA and molecules and the molecular structure. And I was talking in submolecular restructuring. Well, my human had no understanding of any of that stuff. I didn't study any of this. Everything that I teach is remembered. It's my knowledge. It's our knowledge. Everybody has this encoded in their DNA. Now, if I tell you, if you go to sleep, then you can awaken all this knowledge. Does that change anything?
Only if we align with it and
only if you're ready.
If we're ready.
You
I know
have
everyone
to be
watching.
Ready.
I know everyone watching is ready.
I know.
Right? I hope everyone watching is ready. We are ready. Yes.
Wide open, full on. Jump in, both feet of your heart.
Okay.
Jump.
All right. My ego mind, thank you, would like to say it's not being a wet doormat.
A wet doormat?
Did I say that right? Is it a wet doormat or being a doormat? When our heart is wide open.
Doormat, yeah.
Okay, when our heart is, maybe it's a wet blanket.
Wet.
But when our heart is wide open.
Yeah.
Okay,
it doesn't
I
mean
can hear my ego coming out, Lisa.
It's okay. We actually do have to say some of these things because a lot of people question. They think there's a particular way you have to do this, and there's an old misperception of being kind.
Or will you be taking advantage of?
You can't be taken advantage of if you were standing in your power.
So this is the question: having a heart wide open, but standing in your power in a way as love
for yourself
in a way that if someone or situation presents itself, that doesn't treat ourselves with that love or with respect, for us to be able to voice it in a loving, communicating way.
Well, and I'm watching you right now, and I'm watching the mentality and stuff like that. Hold on just a second. Let's stop. You have a judgment.
Yeah.
So I know I can see, believe me, I can see, and people say, Lisa, don't interrupt. You don't understand. I've already heard everything before you even speak it.
Yeah, you're 20 feet ahead of us, 20 steps.
You've transmitted the entire thing. I'm already answering you, but I don't hear your words. I read the whole field, and the energy is transmitted and stuff for you. So sometimes I answer before you've said anything.
Well, please do.
But here's the thing. I gotta stop you for a moment because I need you to comprehend what you actually said. Comprehension is a big deal right now. You have to comprehend what you said. We started with love for yourself.
Yes.
And you said, yes, love for yourself. And then you went on to describe something that is not loving and kind to yourself.
Like if someone else is not kind and loving to ourselves, we give our
How
power
are you
away.
going? But here's the thing. This is the tricky part.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been seeing a lot of this. When you are being respectful to yourself, and I will have to come in and add something else in a moment because it's important to understand. When you are engaging, to engage the ego means you are engaging the aspect of somebody whose heart is closed. That's all it means.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you're engaging somebody whose heart is closed, and I got to explain this from 12,000 directions so it can be understood. You're engaging one with an unconscious aspect that is then going to activate, trigger, whatever word you want to use, because everything is an activation, your unconscious aspect of you. That's how this works. Now, if you can see from a place of love and respect for yourself and the other person without judgment,
And the other person.
And say, this isn't a respectful exchange. This isn't being kind. Right now, we are engaging in a duality reality. When you have a duality reality where the ego is involved, you either have both egos get into the whole thing and keep trying to keep it going, and one wants to win and one's got to be a victim and a perpetrator, and you got the whole thing going on and it's an against. Or you have a, you know what, this isn't loving and kind.
Yeah.
I'm going to attempt to bring this from a place of loving and kindness to myself. I'm going to try and attempt, and I don't like try, but I have to use the word right here. I am going to attempt to bring this into a higher state of consciousness by being loving and kind. Now, here's the tricky part. If that doesn't work, when you're dealing with a really strong impositional, overstepping their bounds, disrespectful ego aspect, if you are coming from a place of love, you actually have more power because that aspect's coming from fear. From a place of love, I can pull my power out and I can bring that to their knees. You want to know why? Is because that reality is no longer stable. The ego no longer has control. Love is always more powerful. It doesn't cater to the ego. It sees the ego and it understands it's coming from a place of fear. It understands that it's coming from a place of it doesn't trust. It's coming from a place of it doesn't love or respect itself. Therefore, it can't love and respect you too. It is then your responsibility to be loving and respectful to yourself, which means sometimes standing up and saying, no more. No more. I refuse to accept disrespect. I refuse to accept less. I refuse to engage in an unconscious exchange. When you're ready to talk, I'll be here. I love you. You open the door, you leave it open, you turn around, walk away. There is a misperception that love is a doormat. No, it's not. Love is power because you no longer go unconscious. Mm-hmm. You're also not judging. You're coming from a place of power in your side of yourself. Let me tell you, the softer I am, normally the more powerful I am. I don't have to speak. All I got to do is walk into a room. Let me tell you, Loren, have you ever seen a weak me?
No, I have not. Every time I'm with you, I mean, look at, we're here in this video room right now, and I'm sure people are feeling the high vibes from that alone.
But do I
you're
not treat
always,
every person with kindness and
you do.
respect? But do I also not tolerate ego, duality, disrespect?
Yeah, this is true. Mm-hmm.
I don't tolerate unconsciousness. It is not an acceptable behavior for anybody anymore. And none of us, this is the beauty, is none of us have to accept it anymore. That's what full consciousness is you're not going to accept the old, but you have the ability to re-educate the person through love and say, you know what, this isn't loving and kind. Let's come together.
Through love.
The thing about it is you've got to be the conscious one.
Yes. Yes.
And that's
to
what
be able to
mastery
speak
is
in a loving,
you.
compassionate way. That's, again.
You got to care. You got to see beyond yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Here's the biggest thing we've been watching. You got to take everything into consideration. Everything. The other person, their feelings, your feelings, their perception and the reality in their head is going to be according to the way they see and through their fractal aspects. Yours is only going to be through the level of consciousness that you function from. And you guys have different realities right then. Diamond Light Code Consciousness gives you the ability to see all the fractals, gives you the ability to see all the different multidimensional aspects and versions of a reality in a person. I can see that it's the 2-year-old child or the rebellious teenager in front of me. I can see that their heart is closed and they're in fear. I can see that they have issues with authority because they never resolve their stuff and they're fighting. I can see all those things. I don't judge it. The beauty is when you can see the dynamics of all the ego aspects. There isn't just one, there's a bazillion of them.
Yes.
Then you are responding vibrationally with either softness or the amount of power necessary to clear that program. It can be soft or strong. You are going to know what is an appropriate response in the moment. If somebody's really impositional and overstepping their bound and walking all over you energetically, then you have the right to actually step up and say no more, because you're being loving and kindness to yourself.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. When you're in a duality reality, you first attempt to bring it into consciousness, but you've got to be the conscious one. If you can't, after many attempts, then you have to make a decision. Now, what are you going to do? Sometimes, I had an experience the other day. I actually had to raise my voice, bring all my emotion out, and I had to just boom. The reason being is I wasn't being heard. I wasn't being respected. I wasn't being listened to. And the only thing that got through was the amount of force that I came forth with, which was all my emotions. And I did it on purpose. Because
But in a loving, compassionate way.
It wasn't very loving in the moment.
Love
because
for yourself.
It was loving for me. And I actually said, I am in a position of a duality reality where I have to choose myself right now.
Okay.
I'm doing this out of respect for myself. And it has nothing to do with the other person. It's me taking my power. It's me standing in my power and saying, this isn't okay. But it's not against the other person. That's what a lot of people don't understand. You're not fighting against anything. They're technically an aspect of you. They are you. In one reality, it's funny because through DNA the other day, I was like teleported back to the 1980s, and we were playing out old unconscious realities, and that's all it was. But it was in the grid work of my body too. And I actually needed the exchange to help me clear, because in order for me to hold a 12D template, I have to clear all that stuff inside of me too. I have to stop calling forth those types of experiences. I have to stop. Does this make sense?
Absolutely. It really does.
It's full accountability, full responsibility for your energy, your actions. It's you owning it all as your creation. You created it. So if you created it, you can change it. It's really understanding on a whole new level. The moment you go into victim or blame mode, one, your integrity just went out the window. Two, you just dropped into 3D. And four, you are playing out a duality reality, and you're not being loving and kind, and you're not holding honor and respect, and you're not coming from that place of unity and consciousness within yourself. It's all you. It has nothing to do, I realized in the early days, and I have a placard that I put out, it's not about their consciousness, it's about yours. Now, I will say this, if it cannot be brought into harmony, and right now the 12D template, one of the things that it is, and it's many things, it's divine harmony. If everything is now about, we went through in December a massive DNA harmonization process. It was intense, and it was beautiful, and it was the most beautiful experience. But once you go through that, you know everything that's not in harmony is going to be in your face, because that's how this works. And if you cannot bring everything into harmony, then you have to make a conscious choice. And in that moment, when you start quantum jumping, like from timeline, closing timelines out, closing realities out, collapsing the structures of that reality, building a whole new reality, creating, and all of these things that we do, you then close the whole reality out. You close the timeline out. You're the one that clears the whole timeline when you close it out, which means the whole reality and everybody in it goes. Did we freeze? Okay. So quantum is instant. There's no delay. There's no one day. 0 point field, everything's right now. For the human, this is really intense because everything's right now. We don't put, if something's out of alignment, I'm going to do this to make it, if something's out of alignment, I'm not going, if I'm being my highest aspect of myself, fully sovereign and in my power and maintaining and managing my whole reality through love, If something is out of alignment and not in tune and not in harmony and not love and isn't working together and everybody's supporting and contributing like we do, because the 12D template is you being a contributor. You're not there with your hand out anymore. There's no more taking. That's the old 3D reality. Take, me. That's not what this is. This is what you're contributing. You will then receive proportionately, and it's a ratio. It's not what you think it is. It's a nonlinear receiving that occurs. It's vibrational. And if you are doing everything when the reality cannot be brought into alignment, then you have the capability to close the whole reality out and move into a whole new timeline right then. You're not holding on. You don't need it anymore. There's no joy. There's no purpose. There's no benefit in unconscious anything. It doesn't serve a purpose anymore. And you understand this as the fully conscious when you understand there is no purpose here. It's not benefiting anybody. You're playing in a karmic timeline, literally. The beauty is you can see a karmic timeline and shut it down right then. Okay, no more, done. The moment you shut it down, you move in. When we come together through unity and love and consciousness, and we're creating and building and working together, we're not in a karmic timeline. We're in a new earth timeline. When we come together and we bring our lack and our lack of responsibility and we dump it on everybody's doorstep and can you tell me what to do and will you do it for me? I don't have enough, I'm not enough. We're in a karmic timeline. Will you help me? We don't help people. We show them the way. We open the door. We let them know that they're totally capable of it. If they will open their heart, they can do anything. But your heart's got to be open, because if your heart's not open, you're in your head and you're telling you can't. You don't have enough. You're making all the excuses. That is the ego. That's your inner narcissist. That's your victim. That's your one that imposes on other people. That's your one that comes from an entitlement energy. That's your one that expects somebody to do something for you. That's your one that thinks that you're going to get something that vibrationally or physically, that technically New Earth, here, it's a very different reality. You receive based upon your contribution and what you actually do. We all have to show up. We have to do the work. And the words I was talking with my community the other day, it's basically what you contribute. You kind of earn your keep on New Earth. So the question is, what are you doing? Now, in the beginning, you're just holding light. You're not really doing anything at all. That is your service. You're just being love. You're walking around, you're blissful, you're magical, and people look at them and go, well, they don't even care. They're not doing anything. To come into a 5D template from a 4D template, I had a process too that my universe told me, get up and go outside and just be kind to people. Get up and go outside and hold your hands out and transmit light. Get up and go do this. And that was my job for the day, to get up and go be kind. I had to learn to become a transmitter of light. It wasn't my natural way. I didn't know how to be an angel. I had to learn to be an angel. I had to bring the angel energy through. Angel is kind and loving and respectful. I had to learn how to be God consciousness and Christed consciousness, because what you're doing is you're stripping away of all the old programs that got in the way. You're learning a whole new way of existing, of treating each other, our behavior. But it's not let me switch it on and pretend to be conscious. Let me go out and let people see me be kind and then come back home and go back to being unconscious again. It's not one of those. Everything in your life has to be brought in alignment. Your work, your job, your money, your house, your body, everything, your relationships, everything you do, all of it, every word you speak, all of it.
Immaculate awareness.
Well, an immaculate conception is when we start birthing ourselves and birthing realities and stuff. So it's kind of comical when you said that too.
Well, how beautiful, Lisa. This has just been a really wonderful quantum conversation. We totally feel aligned. You've given us great tools through this discussion on how we can truly be that and look at everything from the higher perspectives, consciously surrender the ego. This is our task at hand, and we thank you so much for it. I want to make a quick mention to our community to please join with us. If you are feeling the need to learn more and experience this, Lisa has a couple of things for us. If you go to acoustichealth.com on today's show, there are a couple of links on that page. One is to the quantum jumping course that Lisa has. And the next thing is something new that we're doing for this year. It's called Mastery Empowerment. And we're actually doing a 2-day webinar. Lisa says 3 hours each day, but I'm willing to think it's going to go a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, we know.
We'd love for people to join us because, Lisa, we've got questions coming in over the chat. What I'm going to do is make sure that you get those. I'm going to send them to you, and we're going to boil these down into the common themes as well. But all of Lisa's teachings do address all of these questions. And what I know and find from experience with Lisa is that she's always working with us on all of these multidimensional levels, so that even though we don't get to ask Lisa a question, that question gets answered just through the conversation.
And let's say this about light codes. Everything that I say, every exchange is transmitted through light code. Everything is transmitted through light. So by being present with this, if you just open your heart all the way and say, I'm ready to receive, let go. Just open up completely. Your DNA, I transmit avatar consciousness light codes. Diamond light code frequencies, all of these different light codes are transmitted naturally and organically through presence. All you have to do is be here and open completely up. You will start to receive. You're already receiving, even if you're not aware of it or not. And it's working on a multidimensional level, on a cellular level, on a DNA level for you and with you 24 hours a day. So it just means if you want to expedite the process, then just let go and say, open your heart, open. When you open completely, just relax your body and give your body permission and say, okay, I'm ready to receive. And you will actually start to upgrade a lot quicker and faster. It's an acceleration process. And so the courses and the programs and everything just enhance and accelerate, and it brings forth more knowledge and understanding to correlate everything so it can be a much easier process. It's a massive acceleration, everything is. So it's just important to understand that on multidimensional level, the linear aspect says, but it's not working. I didn't understand anything. You didn't tell me what I want to know. That's not how this works. It's a vibrational transmission. You have received everything that you need for this part, and it will always be working with you. You will always, it's in your field, it's in your DNA. That's how multidimensional consciousness works. So it's important to explain that, Lorraine, because a lot of people, they're like, but I didn't get anything. It's not linear. It's consciousness. Yes. Okay.
It's not linear. And so we're already feeling really in alignment. I feel programs are broken. And I just wish for everyone to have a really good night's sleep tonight, because every time I'm in a space like this with Lisa, oh my gosh. Okay. Sometimes it's like really good where I wake up and I'm like, yay. Other times I'm tossing and turning all night long going, ugh. And that would be the ego. So thank you, Lisa, for sharing with us on multidimensional new earth, a quantum physical reality, and this conscious surrender of the ego. And opening our hearts wide open. Our world is alight right now because of all these hearts that are open. So let's hold this, everyone. Lisa, I want to thank you for being here.
Thank you,
and
guys.
I just look forward to more time with you again. And oh my gosh, Happy New Year, happy birth year. Can you go? We consciously surrender. Thank you, Lisa Transcendence Brown. This was a most magnificent quantum conversation. And again, acoustichealth.com will get you into Lisa's special offer and the Mastery Empowerment course as well. I want to thank you, my dear friend, Lisa. I'm just wide open, and I know all hearts are open right now.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Now it's time to dance our way to the cosmic heart. Yay.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. Access all quantum conversations, special offers from our guests, and online healing retreats by visiting acoustichealth.com. I'm Lorraine Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. We leave you now with music from the universe. Music literally created by the universe, as musical notes were assigned to mathematical equations. The result is this beautiful music, available at acoustichealth.com. Namaste.